Guys, this is a long video and I just got done making this, but I highly recommend you watch this video to the end. Keep it paused, come back to it every once in a while. But this is a really good story and it's a classic, and I think you should watch it, the whole thing, because it's a little stale in the beginning, but towards the end and the middle it starts getting pretty good. But hope you enjoy. Hey guys, what's up? This is Vvltvre here, and this is a classic life story on my channel. I did this video a while back, and it just turned out horrible. We'll leave it at that. It was a horrible video. Now, this video, I'm not making it to brag. I'm simply telling it for entertainment purposes only. And before the video, well, before the story, I just want to say that don't judge my parents for my actions. Most of you, or some of you are probably like, oh, well, you have shitty parents, or this wouldn't have happened. My parents did everything they could have for me to be kept out of trouble. The only way I would have not gotten in trouble is if they literally kept me in my room 24/7, and that's just not practical. But alright, guys, this, by the way, don't judge me. Don't judge me as a whole from this story. Judge the younger, way younger me. So this story takes place a bunch of summers ago, probably at least 5 or 6 years ago, in the summer. So my friend, I'm gonna give these guys nicknames. It was Dylan and Kevin, and those are my real life friends at this time. So it's easier for me to remember, and I won't get them mixed up. And yeah, but it's just easier for me to remember. And I just repeated myself. But alright, guys, listen. So Dylan and Kevin, they knocked on my door, and keep in mind, Dylan is 16 and I was probably 11. So, that older person, it's just not a good mix hanging out with older people. And my parents were at work, so they didn't know I was hanging out with this dude, or they would not have let it happen. They would have kept me inside until I complied with their rules. Now, they weren't there, so I left, and my friend had he had a keychain on him, and it was filled with just tons and tons of keys. I mean, for literally anything you could imagine, he probably had a key for. He showed it to me, and I didn't think of anything of it. So we go up to this house. It was an abandoned house, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, this is abandoned, right? That's why I took y'all here." And me and my other friend, he's about the same age as me. We're like, "Yeah, yeah." So we go in there, just being the young kids we are, just looking for adventure. We go in there, and we're just looking around and stuff. This house was abandoned, but it literally, from the outside, in the inside too, it literally looked like somebody lived there. But it was just completely empty. It was just abandoned. Like, they got bankrupt and left, and the bank, I guess, was doing something with it. But yeah, it was just an abandoned house. So we were looking inside of it, blah blah blah. And apparently this was a popular spot for teenagers and even adults to come to and do whatever they did. And I always kept a border around drugs. Drugs wasn't my thing. I just did stupid shit, and I'm proud of that. But anyways, we leave this, and he's like, "Yeah, so let's go to this construction site." So we go to the construction site, and there was a backhoe. And if you don't know what a backhoe is, Google it. It's like a front end loader, and then it has a back arm that lifts dirt and stuff. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go start it." So he goes up there, he starts it, revs the engine, and at this point we're like, "Yeah, this is so cool." So he gets out of it, we're just looking around the construction site, and he's like, "Dude, I'm gonna drive it." So he hops in and he starts driving it. He moves like 5 feet, and keep in mind, we're all just getting used to this. I mean, this was cool, but I don't know how to explain it. We were just getting used to I've never done this before. He's probably never have done this before, and it was just, just keep that in mind. But we're it was just like for 30 minutes, it was just driving it like another 5 feet. Then we all hopped into it. And I shouldn't say we. It definitely wasn't we. I was guilty with association. That's why I got in trouble with this in the first place. But he was the main person driving it. Me or my other friend didn't drive it whatsoever. So we're driving it through the neighborhood, I mean, all around town. And it was like we were driving a supercar. Everybody was looking at us. We ran into friends. They were like, "Where'd you get this at?" And we were, it was just a hell of a good time. It's like we stole a Lamborghini and we were driving it around. And keep in mind, guys, New York City has a lot of cops, but compared to my city back in the day, even now, there's a shit ton of cops for how small my town is. We did not run into a single cop. I think even a few cops drove past us. And keep in mind, with this type of backhoe, it has 4 gears, and that's basically 4 speeds. We had this bitch in fourth gear, just slamming the throttle. And keep in mind, when I say we, I meant my friend was driving it. And if I said that in court, I would have slammed myself in prison probably. But so yeah, keep that in mind. But we're driving it all around, and this was my friend. My friend, I think my friend yeah, Dylan was the one with the keys. Kevin, so Kevin, he's like, all right guys, I'm gonna dip. So he leaves, and that was the best decision he has ever made. And I should have followed through with him and left. And keep that in mind when I say that. And I know I've been saying that a lot, but yeah. So it was at this point, me and my friend Dylan, we're driving it around. And at this point, we go to the more populated area of my city. We go to the actual boardwalk where all the beachgoers, and keep in mind, my city is like a resort town for like the beach, and there's like a water park and stuff. So there is a shit ton of people, especially back in the day. There was tons and tons of more people than there is today. We're just driving it around, and of course, there's cops everywhere, but nobody's saying anything. Nobody is wondering why there's a little kid and a teenager in this fucking backhoe driving this thing around. And I just find that I find it crazy how we got away with this. Well, there was one smart person, and after driving it around, we basically got cut off by this guy in a pickup truck. And he walks up to the window and he's like, yeah, where are you guys headed with this, blah blah blah. And my friend Dylan is like, yeah, we're bringing it to my dad's construction site. And we look scared as shit at this point. I mean we know something's gonna happen. Now he's like, yeah, you guys are driving this a little bit too fast. You're driving it a little bit too fast. So put it in first gear. You guys are gonna get pulled over if you're driving it this fast. And keep in mind, there's people everywhere. Nobody said anything. We even rode past cops. I mean, yeah, we just said okay. And he was like, yeah, we're gonna follow you. So we let him follow us for a little bit. And at this point, we needed to make a move. So the move we made was, when we hit this corner, put it in fourth gear and just slam the throttle. Make a left turn, make a right turn, make a left, and then hop out of it and ditch. So we ran our asses off. We ditched that guy. And keep in mind, this guy's probably, he's on the phone with 911. Like, what the fuck? These guys just stole a back or something. Or even it was just like a call like, yeah, I see this kid and he's driving this backhoe. Come get this guy. Like, these kids are driving this around. So we had to make the 3-mile trek back along these rocks along the water. And this is like in people's front yards overlooking the bay. And it was horrible. So we finally get back to our houses. We say our goodbyes. And that was the end of it. Now, 2 weeks later, and I might have to get more gameplay, but that's fine because this is a long story and I hope you made it this far. So 2 weeks from then, we go up to the construction site. But first, we went to remember that abandoned house I told you about? We went to the abandoned house. And we were in there looking around, and my friend pulled out a matchbox from the kitchen counter, and he lit a blanket on fire, and it engulfed in flames, and we ran the fuck out of there. And that's how I got charged with arson. And keep in mind, I got charged with grand theft auto, destruction of property, because my friend, when he was driving it around for those 5 feet, he actually destroyed a sediment pile, which was worth it was thousands of dollars. It was to keep sediment from going down into like rainwater and stuff. And the maximum restitution a juvenile can be faced with is 10,000. So I got lucky, and I didn't have to pay like 100,000, and my friend didn't get in any trouble because he didn't say a damn word. Fuck you, bro. Fuck you. I got all the fall for your shit. But yeah, so he lit the blanket on fire. The inside of the house is engulfed in flames, and we didn't know that, but that's what come to find out in court and all the other stuff. So we go back to the construction site to see if the backhoe's still there, and it was. Yeah, I need to get more gameplay. BRB. Hold up. All right, so I left off at us, him lighting the blanket on fire and we going back to the construction site. But I missed a big part of the story. This has to do with more of the court stuff of, the aftermath. But after that day of us running from that guy in the pickup truck and, going back, which all happened in the same day, my friend Dylan and Kevin went back to the construction site the next day and they smashed every single window to all the construction equipment, which I took the downfall for. which was pretty shitty. So look, all right. So fast forward 2 weeks. The house. He lit the blanket on fire. The house is in flames. We go to the. All right. So we're on our way to the construction site, and we get there, and of course, we're not new to this anymore. So we hop in that motherfucker. He gets in the driver's seat, and when he gets in the driver's seat and turns the key, a pickup truck, like a F1 3000, like a big ass diesel, we hear just flying towards us. And at this point, we knew, yeah, we were set up. They were onto us, and it was so dumb of us to go back to that construction site. So dumb. It was dumb for us to even have done this in the first place. But I obviously hearing that engine and turning around and seeing that motherfucker come flying towards us. And I apologize about my language, but after seeing that, we get out and we dip through the woods. And that was the last time I saw that kid ever again. I didn't see him in court. I haven't even seen him since that happened. I probably saw I seen him maybe like 2 other times in the neighborhood after that. Probably like a year later, I saw him for the first time. So we're running through the woods, and we come up on the street, and this is probably the top 3 scariest times of my life. My life dealing with this. Just running from these people, the construction site owners, or the workers or whatever. And we're scared shitless, and we split up. And I don't know how we got split up, but he ran one way and I ran the other. And I think he actually, I have a gut feeling that he might have even gotten caught. I think they might have tackled him. But yeah, and this was a story. This was part of the story where I actually left out of the first video. I totally forgot about it. But this is like one of the key parts of the whole video. So I'm running through the woods, and keep in mind, I have like a half a mile back to my house, and it's all main roads. So I'm scared shitless the whole time. I'm running. I can't breathe, and it took me about 30 minutes to get out of that small strip of of road where the construction site was, to the next neighborhood where the house that was on fire, that my friend lit on fire, was at. So I get over there, and I look over to the house because I passed the house. Fire trucks, and there's the house is smoking. And keep in mind, the outside of the house was completely normal, but the inside was completely messed up. Just the living room, nothing else. Everything else was fine. I guess neighbors notified of the smoke coming out of it. So we go. Well, not at this point. We're split up, and I'm just on my own now. So I had this half a mile back to my house. So I'm going back to my house, and I walk past that, and I'm like, holy crap, and I knew I screwed up. This was when I woke up and I realized, all right, I screwed up. So I go back to my house, and I'm sitting there chilling. I'm in the recliner. I drink a big glass of water, and I'm chilling there, and the doorbell rings, and it's the fire marshal. And I admitted everything right then and there. I own up to my mistakes, and owning up to your mistakes is one thing, but telling police straight up what you did is not a good idea. Because, one, you're just digging your hole deeper. You should talk to a lawyer first. And, yeah, I screwed myself over. But what Dylan did, the kid that was, in charge of all this, he didn't say a word. And he actually got locked up. He actually got locked up for this. But he didn't say a word, so the only punishment he got was just being in a juvenile detention center for like 6 months. And from what I understand, none of us really, well, besides me, the other kid, he didn't get in trouble either. I mean, he had to go to court and everything, but he had no long-term punishment. My long-term punishment was paying off the $10,000 in restitution, which is the maximum. I think it was like $110,000 was the final. If I was over 18, I would have had to pay $110,000. But $10,000, we got that paid off, and pretty quick, just so when I did all my stuff that I had to do on probation, I could just get off of probation really quick. And I was actually on probation for like 5 years, and even paying off that restitution quick, it still didn't speed up the process of me getting off probation. And I was on probation for a while. I had to go to court like 5 times for this, and it was horrible, and I don't recommend it. But guys, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. I would appreciate if you liked the video, and if you're new, maybe you should subscribe. I lost 11 subscribers, which isn't a big deal, but I lost it due to YouTube's cleanup subscribers thing, and I guess People that were subscribed to me that were active were removed, and that's a whole nother video. It's pretty shitty. But yeah, drop the subscribe button. And more of the story, you know, I can't think of one right on the spot, but just, you can have fun, but just don't do stupid shit. Don't do stupid shit as stupid as I did. You know, people make mistakes, but the magnitude of the mistake I made was astronomical. I mean, it was horrible. But guys, this has been Vulture. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.